With so many single-use plants in the game, I've always wondered if you can beat Plants vs Zombies 2 with only single-use plants. And while it may seem like it's a cakewalk, there are so many weaknesses and so many problems in this challenge that come up very quickly. But before I get into any of those, I need to go over the rules. First of all, any pre-planted plants I'll try my best to remember to dig up, but if I don't, then it's completely fair game. Secondly, I will try any gimmick levels that give me plants I can use, but I can't promise they'll be possible. And lastly, I'm only allowing a maximum of 2 premium plants per level, because after that it may just get a bit too easy. Other than that, enjoy the tutorial to Frostbite Caves. This challenge actually starts on day 3 of the tutorial, which is when we get the potato mine, our first single use plant and only damaging one for a long time. Thankfully, it is strong enough to hold off the last couple of days of the tutorial until Dave Crazy III decides to invent time travel and bring us to ancient Egypt for some reason. Now, I don't want to add any new plants we get to a tier list, so I'm going to slap Potato Mine in A tier because while it's good, it does still have quite a few weaknesses that will come up very soon. Before that though, the Potato Mine is still good enough to keep off some zombies, but I just need to make sure I place it as soon as I can because it takes quite a decent amount of time to arm. Or I can just use plant food, which lets it duplicate and in turn be ready instantly, and there was no shot of that in day 1. Day 2 was the power-ups level, which either way had respawning mowers, so it would have been possible if I didn't use them. Day 3 is where the biggest problem with this challenge becomes apparent, and that is too many zombies. And this is also another reason why I didn't use potato mines in day 2, it would have just been too hard. Anyways, the camel zombies is what I mean as too many zombies in this level, because as they move in a line, I can't really kill all of them with one potato mine. So I'm going to bring in our first premium plant, the jalapeno, which can just... And while it's good, I am going to put it in C tier because of its high cost and single lane capabilities. But either way, day 4 was a conveyor belt, meaning that was impossible. And while day 5 was a given plants level, it did give me potato mines, which means I just lost a few mowers. Day 6 was another conveyor belt, and day 7 was quite close with only 2 mowers to spare, which might end up being a trend in this challenge. Day 8 introduces a zombie that may seem quite problematic in other challenge runs, but with the iceberg lettuce and single use plants, it can't really do anything. With that said, the iceberg lettuce is going to go into A tier because the only problem with it is that it can only freeze one zombie at a time unless you use plant food. Day 9 was where the problem of large holes really becomes a big issue as a level with no mowers at all. And that is the same with day 10 and 11, with day 10 being inches away from losing and day 11 requiring a plant food purchase for it to be possible. But to be fair on myself, it was a given plants level when I only really had potato mines to deal with them. Day 12, like most other levels, left me with no mowers, and day 13 banned us from planting on Dave's weird science experiment. Oh no. Whatever those are, but it was quite easy. Day 14 though is where we start developing some stalling tactics, and the first one is by grabbing the sun just before the guy gets it. What's it called? I need to find out what's it. Ra? I'm not calling it a Ra zombie. First is by grabbing the sun just before this guy gets it, as it completely stops him in his tracks so he can get a bit emotional before again moving on. And the other one is by using the best plant in the whole game, the Grave Buster, to basically just let itself get killed. Day 15 was a level where I had to protect these plants. I'm fucked. I'm actually fucked. So apart from a close call, the sunflowers owe me big time. Day 16 was another all mower level, as the plants I use have less than ideal recharge time. Day 17 really wanted to scare me with 58 torch zombies, but as I said, they ain't shit. Give me... I don't want to do that bit. Day 18 is the first of many last stand levels, and as I can't use the iceberg lettuce and the jalapeno has to charge, it is all potato mines, which did cost me most mowers, but we did win. Day 19 brought Dave's slime chunks back and made sure we didn't plant too much, which is quite fine by me, with fine being only just beatable. Day 20 is impossible with the plants we have, as I can't really plant them in time as they have 2 decades of recharge. So for now, like all impossible levels, we will leave that to the end of the challenge as I'll be more equipped and knowledgeable from then. Day 21 was grave central but easy enough, and day 22 just had way too many zombies for me to handle. What? Day 23 introduced the gargantuan zombie, which was quite easy with my plants. Day 24 was another last stand level, which, let's see if this is possible. I don't know how many waves this is going to have, so it might screw up. This time was way easier. And finally, day 25 was a boss fight. My taco tastes so close. I can smell it. What did that guy have against tacos and meat eating number? Nom nom nom. Bah, my reasoning is simple yet beyond your comprehension. Blah, 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 blah. Okay. This one is not going to be possible with single use plants because it's a conveyor belt. I can't believe it. I can't. Alright, there we go. And he's already dead. And that is the key to pirate seas. It's a pirate key, a piratey. Sounds salty. Taco ahoy. Oh god. This world holds our next unlockable plant with the cherry bomb right at the end of the world. But before we get anywhere near to that, we need to begin dealing with the new layout as there's gaps in the map where pirates can swing in from. But day 1 was easy enough to beat with the plants we have, so hopefully I should be able to handle these levels. There's unlikely to be something that I can't damage with a potato mine, right? So I'd like to introduce my favourite plant, the squash, who is the only plant in my arsenal that can actually do anything to the seagull zombie. Not even throwing food on the ground would do anything. To be real though, if more than one seagull zombie appears in a level, it will be very difficult, and it's only day 2. With that said, the squash is the first plant going into the S tier because, as you'll see in the future, the seagull zombie isn't the only one that only the squash can take out. Thankfully though, it does leave us alone for the next few levels. With our new plants, day 3 and day 4 come and go without any mowers being needed at all. And from day 4 we do get some treasure. Maybe it was the sunflowers. Maybe not. Moving on to day 5, the seagull zombies are back in business and decided they wanted to screw everything up with all of them appearing at once, but after a few attempts I was somehow able to make it work. I don't really know myself. Day 6 has to be one of the closest calls ever, with this last zombie completely dodging the jalapeno and being less than a second away from me losing the level. Holy. That is insane. Day 7 introduces a barrel roll zombie who can trample some plants, except the jalapeno and squash, both of which can take it out quite easily. Either way, day 7 costed all of our mowers, which was quite sad. Day 8 was a conveyor belt, and day 9 thought it could scare me by cutting out most of the lawn, I guess it's called, but it completely failed. Now day 10 was easy enough, but day 11 introduced a ton of Minecraft spawner blocks that I could only reasonably take out using the squash's plant food. It was too late though, and 50 fuckers had already made it through, and sadly after a good few attempts I still couldn't beat it. Day 12 was a welcome revenge on all the seagull pricks, which was very satisfying. Like the impossible levels, the levels where I need to produce sun will also be left to the end because I did initially want to try and restrict any sun plants to a singular world, but I didn't end up keeping with that. Day 14 was the first last stand level in Pirate Seas, which not only was still restricted to just potato mines, but was also restricted to not using the planks at all, as I couldn't plant there. And if that wasn't bad enough, as squash has to recharge, these 2 seagull zombies make it basically impossible to complete it. So skipping that level, day 15 introduces a line of flowers that we can't let the zombies cross, which means we can't use our lawnmowers at all, and it also brings the spawner blocks, which I couldn't deal with. Day 16 is an endangered plants level with the spring beans, and while it was difficult, it was completely possible. I can't believe that's possible. Day 17 was also incredibly difficult, but using squash's plant food, it could be completed, thankfully. Holy. Day 18 was a given plants level, which I can't beat with only iceberg lettuce. Who would have guessed? Day 19 was sun related and flowers, which is an awful combo and completely undoable. Day 20 was another sun level. And day 21, I'll just let my past self explain. Yeah, actually. What is it with this world and the sun levels? Now, here is the absolute worst level in this world. Just look at how many zombies there are before the last wave. This was without a single wave. So, who would have guessed? It's impossible. Yeah, I don't think this is possible. Day 23 was another impossible level, and while the first attempt did look promising, the only way I was able to make it work was with something I haven't unlocked yet. Completing the hat trick, day 24 was also impossible due to the spring beans and the seagulls. With those covered, we now have the boss fight, which was actually quite close. And with Zomboss defeated, we now unlock the key to Wild West. With the cherry bomb now part of my arsenal, I'm going to start by putting it in B tier because, while it's amazing, there is a better plant I start using in future worlds, but either way we have a great loadout, and with the minecarts added in Wild West, I don't need to worry as much as what lanes I put my plants on because somehow Potato Mine's working moving carts. Anyways, with that said, day 1 is a complete breeze because of those. Day 2 introduces the Prospector zombies that change absolutely nothing for our challenge, and sometimes they just... Day 3 introduces the piano guy, but it doesn't really do much for us. It just moves the zombies around a small bit. Day 4 gives us plants, but in a really weird way. The biggest thing about it, though, is that it unlocks the chili bean, our next plant, which is the second plant in the S tier, because while it can't kill as many things as a squash, it can kill and stun zombies behind it, making it amazing. With a new plant, we complete day 5 without a single problem, and day 6 is a last stand level, and once again, we just plant potato mines, which also didn't give us a problem. Day 7 was much the same, with it being quite easy, but then it was followed by day 8, which is the gargantuan level, which was actually quite close. Day 9 was a given plants level, and day 10 is where everything starts to go downhill. Remember when I said that the biggest problem in this challenge is large hordes of zombies? Well, let me introduce you to the epitome of this problem, the chicken wrangler zombies, which once damaged, stunned, or literally touching anything, it releases the chickens, and while the wiki says that it can be countered by the chili bean, they can't. When the chicken wrangler starts eating the chili bean, the chickens release and then they eat it first, which is annoying. So day 10 is completely impossible because of that, but it's fine as long as we don't get many more chicken wranglers. Thankfully though, we are left alone for day 11, which might cause some problems in other rounds, but my loadout is full of cheap plants, so it's completely fine. Day 12 was another weird level which we can't do. Day 13 introduces the zombie ball, which again doesn't mean shit to me. Now, day 14, the prick is back, but it's alright, I didn't even want to win the level anyways. Day 15 introduces a new type of level, which is literally the bane of this challenge, as I'm not allowed to lose any plants, and that's kind of the whole thing with these plants. Day 16 is one endangered walnut, which is easy enough to save as it's on a minecart. Day 17 is a flower level, which is quite close to the front of the lawn, but is thankfully, after one fail, completable. Oh, we did it. Chat. We did it. Why did I say chat? I'm not streaming. Day 18 and day 19 is another don't lose plants level. Okay, well, these gimmicks are really getting on my nerves. Day 20 is another weird level. Day 21 has 2 conditions, both of which don't affect me at all. Day 22 is another given plants level, which I attempted, but day 23 is another don't lose plants level. Now I have one guess, and if this next day is possible, just by this frame. Either way, day 25 was easy enough, thankfully, which gives us the key to Frostbite Caves. Frostbite Caves. I'm gonna be honest, this world took the absolute piss, which we'll see later. Before that though, this world has 2 plants that I unlock. One of them is a tool which melts ice, which I'm gonna slap into D tier as I literally forget it exists. And there's one stun, which is kind of just a chili bean without the damage. And because of that, it's gonna go into B tier. Brr, it's colder than a polar bear eating an ice pot. That is cold, to be fair. This world has a feature of freezing plants with icy wind, and while it doesn't really affect me much, a lot of the worlds do have frozen plants. For example, these walnuts on day 1, which I try to avoid de-icing, but either way they'll normally get shoveled. Day 2 doesn't bring anything different, so it was easy enough. And day 3 is a conveyor, which is annoying. Hurricane would be a great use. Oh, this is one I can do. Day 4 introduces the average person on a snow day where they just toss snowballs at you and that somehow freezes the plants, but they don't threaten me. Day 5 is a... Oh, is it going to be given plants? Or is it conveyor? Another conveyor. And day 6 introduces a new gimmick. I love these gimmicks. Oh my... Oh wait, most. And it's just completely annoying as it gives us most of the plants they want us to use, but for now it is possible with the cherry bomb and potato mine. These pointers move the zombies to a different lane, which for day 7 just completely dooms them, and Day 8, if you could guess, was another conveyor. Day 9 introduces the dodo bird, which ends up being quite a big difficulty, as they could just completely fly over my plants, meaning I need to see where they're going to land and plant things as soon as I can. And even with a few, this day was very difficult. From now onwards, the levels start getting incredibly annoying, so let me list off all the impossible levels. There is Day 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 18, 21, 23, 24, 25, 28, 29, and also 30, which is also half of the levels. Day 10 was my favourite and another conveyor. Oh my god. Day 11 gave me most of my plants, as well as spawning a lot of dodo birds, which made it impossible for me. Nah, it's impossible. Day 12 is where the icy wind actually affects me, as the last stand level type requires me to leave most of my plants stationary, so they'll probably get caught by it and freeze, and they do, but with the help from Hot Potato, it's possible after losing a couple mowers. Day 13 is a flower level, but sends so many zombies, mostly just imps, making it completely impossible in my eyes. Day 14, Day 15 had 2 endangered pepper poults that couldn't really do shit for themselves, making me fail multiple times until I thankfully beat it. Day 16, Day 17 introduces the Troglodyte zombie, which starts pushing 3 imps trapped in ice, but as I don't need to attack the ice, I could just kill the souls quite easily. Day 18 is another. Day 19 gives me most of the plants, but it also ends up having 2 that I can use, so it was a breeze for me. And it also unlocks a Stunyon. Day 20 was difficult because of the dodos and left me with 1 mower, which was quite worrying. Day 21 was the... Is this another conveyor? Another conveyor belt. Day 22 introduces the B-Tech Chicken Wrangler with the Weasel Hoarder, who, unlike the Chicken Wrangler, can be countered quite easily with a stun and insta-kill, as it only triggers when it's damaged and unstunned. Now, these do become a big issue in the next day, Day 23, because no matter how much I try it, it's sadly completely impossible. Day 24 is a sun level. Wait, oh. Are you kidding me? Another conveyor. Day 26, I was so close to failing, surviving with only a single mower. Day 27 was also incredibly close, starting with the Troglodyte being 1 spot away from shoving the endangered plants off the edge, and in general being low on mowers. And that was before the final wave, which brought 2 gargantuans with it. And to be fair, they were the least of my worries, but the 2 imps and the TGF video idea were the real issues, being very close to losing me the attempt. Look at how many imps there were. Day 28 was a last stand level, which was completely impossible, as it mixed freezing plants with weasels, which just made it absolute hell. Day 29 was another gimmick, given plants level, and I'm just going to skip over it. And finally, Day 30 was the boss fight, which wasn't too bad itself. It gave me the key to the Lost City, but that'll have to wait until next time. Wow, okay. Lost City, guys. Hooray!